Drive-By Movies here. You're watching Fresh Releases. My name's Blaise.
And I'm James.
And this week, we're talking The Platform.
El hambre desata la locura. Tiene buen corazón. No creo que sobreviva usted mucho tiempo.
The Platform entails a tall 200-story vertical prison that each time there's 2-minute segments, and this platform that contains a massive amount of food, almost the Last Supper essentially, stops on each floor for 2 minutes, and as it goes down and down and down, you're released into this nightmarish hell basically. So James, what did you think of The Platform?
I thought The Platform was a pretty fun watch, taken away just like heading into this quarantine still. Everyone's talking about the Tiger King. Well, that was a fun watch and a whole different conversation. There was another talk going on about another movie where I was just like, what is this? I'm just going to go in blind. That movie was The Platform. Highly enjoyed it, and that's when I recommended it to you after actually just reading the synopsis. I still hadn't watched it yet, but it's a fantastic movie. It's different. It's been a while since we've seen a movie like this where you just feel like it's actually kind of a scary movie to watch in isolation currently, just because they're trapped, they can't go out, and then the struggle of like eating what what you have leftovers with is a pretty intense watch, and it's unlike anything that's out right now. Highly recommend it. I loved it. What do you think?
So I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was very entertaining. I think a lot of people are going to have issues with the end, and we can get to that, a little bit later. But first off, I just want to say that synopsis I gave you basically as the viewer about The Platform, it really doesn't entail kind of everything that has to go into this movie. I mean, you might think, okay, I'm just eating other people's leftovers. Other people at the top could be sabotaging you, basically just throwing the food around or doing all sorts of, kind of sabotage method, even putting the glass in the food. So, once this thing gets to like even level 50, the scraps are just disgusting. They've been, tons of people's hands have touched them. You have your cellmate with you, but is this somebody that you can trust? I thought this movie really explored this very interesting concept, but did it in such a unique way.
Right, and just seeing how savage some of the characters get, and spoiled they get the higher up they are. Like, people will literally just spit on the people below them, and they're like, why are you doing that? And it's just like, because I guarantee the people above us did it already. That's what they do. Just seeing people put their feet on the food, just trying to reach, you can reach it with your hands. It's just disturbing the way that people get the animal instincts that take over and everything, and just in a way, one of my favorite books that I was forced to read in high school was The Lord of the Flies. It's not a book I would have read on my own time, I'd say, but it's actually the book I took away from the most of reading in school, and just seeing the nature versus nurture kind of take over within certain people, and that's definitely the case with this movie. But you see grown adults, and then is there a kid involved at certain points, and just every character I'd say is likable one way or another. From the central cast, I'd say, of course, our main character volunteering to go in, it's an interesting story starting off with that, and just seeing his journey. He only has to be there for 6 months. Is he going to make it or not? But just the climax of this movie, when it turns down to them just trying to work their way down the levels, is just such an intense watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely just really enjoyed this movie. It kind of crept up, by surprise. But I'm going to go out and say I'm a huge fan of Cube. And I felt like this movie borrowed a lot from Cube, just that weird kind of zany concept, but also taking it's just not really something that you would generally think of. But I feel like this movie actually takes it much further than Cube ever did. And that was really surprising. That was very enjoyable. Just Cube was a movie that I always loved, but there really isn't that much, deeper to the Cube than really what's surface level. And I felt like this movie is, that art film version of Cube. I felt like there is a lot that you can take away and think about in this movie after it's, the runtime is finished. And I felt like Especially, I don't know, just getting into the ending, like, what did you think of the end? Because at first, when it came up, I was actually really disappointed. You don't feel free to spoil it, but just, you know, I guess you can skirt that line.
I guess I wanted more from it, essentially, with the ending where, like, I wish there was more resolution for our central star, just because, you know, he only had to get through one more month. Like like I said, don't want to go into too much spoiler territory, but because I just want everyone to check it out. Everyone has access to Netflix, I feel like. But just like the journey that they go on to make this statement, I thought was pretty well done. But the way it ends overall, like I wish there was a little bit more to it, but it's still overall such a satisfying watch. And I love how grounded this movie is, even though it's definitely fantasy. It takes place in a interesting looking future that, you know, kind of almost like, I don't see why that might not happen in the future, honestly. Especially just given what we're dealing with right now. But yeah, I really liked this take on the future, essentially, and what prisons might be like. And it's like, essentially, like I could seeing how inhumane it is and seeing how people deal with it. Like it brought out some crazy scenarios and scenes. And while every character does some unlikable things, like you sympathize for each character, I'd say.
Definitely. And for me, the ending was just a lot of food for thought, something to think about. And if you guys have watched the movie, if not, I definitely recommend go checking this movie out. But if you have seen it, let us know in the comments below what you thought of the ending, because I'm interested to see what other people thought of it. For me, it was something that at first, you know, I didn't quite understand. And then, you know, with a day with your thoughts, you know, here in quarantine and thinking about this movie, it was definitely something that I really appreciated, something that I think really, you know, reflects on what happens in the world every day. Like not this situation specifically, but, you know, talking about even things like hunger or disease or stuff like that. I felt like this movie, it doesn't tackle those issues, but I feel like it kind of sometimes tackles the way in which we approach solving them.
Right.
So I felt like this movie was just, it kind of blew my socks off. Really enjoyed it. Really, I'm interested to see what this director and, you know, these people go on to make next. This, I think it was at Toronto After Dark. So I don't know if they're going to, this isn't really a horror movie. It's more of like a thriller with, you know, some horror elements. But I would be interested to see what they make if they come back next year or the year after with something else up their sleeve. I'm really excited for that.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad that Netflix bought the rights to distribute this movie. One thing we didn't bring up is it's a movie from, you know, it's a foreign film. It is in Spanish, and so that's something that we don't always get to see too often. That's like such highly publicized, especially on the homepage of Netflix. I think it's been in the top 10 pretty much since the quarantine started. Hasn't reached like number one, but it's been in that top 10 range I've seen pretty much every day. And I'm happy for a foreign film to be up that high, that many people are taking an interest in it. And yeah, definitely can't wait to see what this director and even the stars like move on to next.
Most definitely. And I mean, if you're happy about foreign films doing that, spoiler alert, a foreign film just won the Oscar this year.
True.
So I know I'm getting news to you a little bit late, buddy, but I think you're going to be pretty stoked about that one. So anyways, guys, if you like the show, if you want to go check out the platform, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's available on Netflix. If you want to purchase it, you can use our Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. If it's on Amazon. Now that I think about it, it might not even be on Amazon because I think Netflix probably has the exclusive worldwide rights. So anyways, just watch more of the videos on this channel. That's probably the best way to support the show, guys.
Yeah. And also always helps us out by giving us a like and leaving a comment to let us know what you thought about the movie. Like we said, it's on Netflix, so it's easy for you to check out, especially because we're all in lockdown right now. But yeah, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
And that's going to be it for fresh releases this week. Tune in next week for another new video.